I'm Ben Shapiro, and this is Right Hook.
Ben, how did you get... We're going to play some of the audio clips here in a second. How did you get these people to admit this stuff?
I asked them. It really was that simple. I told them my name. I told them my background. I told them what the book was about, and they assumed. I mean, this is where liberal stereotyping comes in. And by the way, before I start, Glenn, I really want to thank you so much on behalf of all the Jews of the United States that I can speak for your support for Israel, because it really does mean everything to me. I mean, my wife is Israeli. I was married there. It means just an enormous amount. But in terms of getting these interviews, what I did is, I basically used my name, which is Shapiro, and my Harvard Law baseball cap, because I went to Harvard Law School, and they assumed that if my name is Shapiro and I'm wearing a Harvard Law baseball cap, I must be a liberal, right? And so they...
Do you really believe that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's no question that if my name had been, Bill White, and I'd been coming from Emory University, they probably would have taken a second look.
Mm-hmm. So they admitted it because they thought you were friendly.
Yep. I'll give them maybe. You know what? I don't want to get inside their heads. Maybe some of them Googled me. I highly doubt it, just based on the fact that the ones who did Google me emailed me back and then say we don't want to do the interview. So, so they assumed that I was a liberal, and then they just spoke out loud into the tape recorder with permission.
What did you say? What did you say the premise of the book was?
What I said is that this is a book about the history of the television industry, profiling the biggest names in it. Right, appeal to ego, which is always really successful in Hollywood, and I said it's also going to examine the symbiotic relationship between social change in the United States and social change on television.
Oh, absolutely. You're right. They went in and they were like, oh, this is going to be friendly.
All right, exactly. Master's thesis for Harvard University, right? That's kind of what it sounds like. I mean, that is, of course, exactly what the book is, but they just assumed that I was on their side of the aisle, and they spoke loud and clear into the microphone with full permissioning. I mean, I'm a lawyer. Okay. I know what the law is in the state of California.
Let me go here, and we're going to play a couple of cuts. And first one, tell us a little bit about it. We have David Shore, creator of House, explaining discrimination against conservatives. Here's the audio, and then you tell us about it.
Yeah, that there's some sort of political blacklist in Hollywood, where if you're a right winger, it's too hard to get. You can't get a job. What do you make of that?
I think there is actually probably some limited truth to that. I think ultimately, again, and I don't want to be too cynical here, but if there's the fact is Mel Gibson's has to be considered to be on the right side of the political spectrum, and he has no trouble getting work.
Right.
I think if the audience wants to watch you, or the audience wants to watch your stuff, you will get work. But I do think there is an assumption within this town that everybody is on the left side of the spectrum, and the few people on the right side, I think people look at them somewhat aghast, and I'm sure it doesn't help them.
What do you make of that?
I mean, he's exactly right, especially in the second half there. In the first half, when he's talking about, well, Mel Gibson can get work, well, yeah, because Mel Gibson's a big star. I mean, the point of conservatives in Hollywood, there are a few of them, right? Joel Surnow, who makes 24, is conservative. Jerry Bruckheimer is conservative. Don Belisario, who does NCIS, is conservative.
But those people are wildly successful.
That's right, and that's the key.
Too
right?
late to
before
blacklist.
they came out as conservatives. That's
right.
what you have to do in Hollywood. If
Correct.
you're successful, sure you can work. The question is, can the grip work? Right? Can the bid actor work? Can the writer who's just writing spec pilots, can he work?
No.
And so when David Shore says that, when David Shore says repeatedly that you can work in this town if you're conservative, but the end of the quote is really the money quote. I mean, when he says, look, it's not going to be looked well upon if you're from the other side of the political aisle. That's really what matters, because they'll make up any excuse not to. Your writing doesn't fit our style, or your acting it just wasn't right on today. Right? They'll make up any excuse. They're not generally going to come out and say to your face, "You're conservative, not going to hire you." But that's the real reason that conservatives.
I will tell you that I mean, I've met with many Hollywood people who. I met, and I don't want to say who, I met a woman who I sat next to at dinner when I was out in Los Angeles. We had dinner together, and she wept. She wept because she had said something, that she was not supporting Obama.
Yep.
And she said she was attacked. And
by good friends.
By good friends who were like, you're not raising your children to be a conservative, are you?
Yeah. I mean, they will attack you personally. They'll attack your livelihood. I mean, it's so funny. When I started writing primetime propaganda, as a conservative, I generally look askance at accusations of discrimination. I tend to think that they're overblown in almost every circumstance. And so when I went and I started doing the interviews, I figured that this is all, a little bit overblown. Well, along the way, I had no intention of writing for television ever. And I met with a guy named Leonard Goldberg, who's on the board of CBS. He's a producer for Blue Bloods. And he and I hit it off, and he said, why don't you write me a pilot based on Harvard Law? I said, okay, top producer asks you to write a pilot, you write a pilot. So I wrote a pilot, went and got an agent. Everything's going swimmingly. I mean, just to get an agent in town is a big deal. So I get an agent. Everything is we're working on this stuff. About 3 weeks later, he calls me up, and he says, Ben, I'm not sure we can represent you. I said, oh, really? Why is that? He said, one of our lower-level agents had been getting your stuff around town. They got a call back from a producer who's interested and then who'd Googled you, and then our lower-level agent Googled you. He saw your political viewpoints, because I've been very clear in my conservatism for years and years. He saw your political viewpoints, and we're not sure that we can get you work in this town with those political viewpoints.
Blacklist.
Yeah, I mean, and it's not like I've
imagine
been in the industry for years and years, right? I mean, I literally dipped my toe into the pond, and the alligator bit it right off.
Yeah, this is the industry. This is the Ben. Trust me on this, and you'll understand soon. Everything's about to change. This is the group of people who talk about blacklists of Hollywood, that you couldn't be a communist and you couldn't work even though you were, and yet they're doing it. And this is old news. Let me go on, or it's an old rant from me. Let me go with George Slatter. Who is George Slatter?
He's the producer of a show called Laugh-In. The creator of Laugh-In was one of the biggest shows of the 1960s, right? It was kind of the real first foray from the left in a hard way into leftist politics. And George had some colorful things to say for sure.
Glenn Beck, with these two bright blue contact lenses that give him these bright blue kind of deer in the headlight surprised look, and I find him really amusing.
I don't with the bright blue.
I don't have contact lenses.
No, those are actual bright.
Those are my eyes, George.
Well, he wants your eyes removed there, Glenn. So I mean,
yeah.
That's amazing. He's impressed with your eyes, though.
Yeah,
you could tell that.
There was some sort of attraction there.
Yeah,
I know. Is he?
He's hitting on you.
Is he a good-looking man? Or... all right. Clip 3 here. Mark Cherry on. Do we have Mark Cherry? Mark Cherry on why he put gay neighbors in Desperate Housewives.
One of the things I'm proudest about is the addition of the gay neighbors on Wisteria Lane, because they're there, they're a part of the neighborhood, no one seems to notice it. And I think that just having gay neighbors be a part of the street, and I don't really talk about their sexuality much. To me, that became its own political statement, which is, see, you can have gay neighbors and they can be perfectly fine and fit in with the rest of the folks, and it doesn't change anything. And you kind of hope that you're preparing the way, planting little seeds in the minds of people who sometime over the next few years are going to have gay neighbors buy a house on their street.
Okay, hang on just a second. I don't have it necessarily. I mean, I don't like. Here's where my problem is on this one, is that they know they're planting the seeds. I don't care if they have gay neighbors on TV. I have gay friends, and I don't have a problem if gay neighbors are moving in. We should all be a society that like, hey, the people are different than me, and they're living next door. I don't care what it is. They're different than me. They're good. We see people as people. It's judge people by the content of their character, not the color of their skin, et cetera, et cetera. But is the problem here really that they are clear, they know the power, and they always deny it?
That's exactly right. It's the strategic point here, Glenn. I mean, this is really the strategic point. They know the power of the medium that they're using, and they know that they can use it to convince people of things that, they may not otherwise have been convinced of. In this case, maybe something, as innocuous of, you have gay neighbors, and that's wonderful. But I can tell you that, over a period of time, this is, for example, how gay marriage has gained so much support in this country. How many gay marriages have you seen on network television? Now, how many gay marriages have you actually seen in real life? Right? I mean, the number you've seen on network television, probably, unless you live in San Francisco or L.A. or maybe New York, it far outweighs the number that you see in real life. But it's made a mainstream phenomenon by the power of television. And the people in the TV industry know this, and they said it to me on tape in primetime propaganda, and that's why it's a big deal, because they're on the record now as saying, yes, we message our programming. For years they've lied about this. For years they've said, no, we're just appealing to the market. We're just appealing to general Americans here. It's absolute nonsense. They're appealing to the people they want to appeal to. They've stacked the industry. I mean, it is absolutely incredible. They appeal to a certain demographic that they've specifically picked out. This 18 to 49 demographic is supposed to be the demographic that really matters. If you think about it for half a second, it makes no sense. People who are 18 live in their parents' basements. They don't have any income, and they're generally losers. Are these the people who you want as consumers? You want people who are 50 and above, right? They have savings, and they can actually afford to spend cash. But liberals in Hollywood have promoted the 18 to 49 demographic because they really want to appeal to those people, because they can then go around and say, well, at least 18 and 49-year-olds, those are the people who matter. Those are the ones who watch our show. Sure, nobody above 50 watches our show, but those people don't matter anyway. Only one problem. What's the number one earning network on television? CBS. Has anybody under the age of 50 ever seen a CBS show? No.
I haven't.
No. Ben, I think that the fact that this is happening probably isn't going to surprise a lot of us. It's the fact that they're admitting to it. And the most surprising thing that I've seen from your book so far, I think, to me, is that one of the Sesame Street founders, admitted he's using propaganda on our kids.
Let's go back to that here in a second. Let me take a quick break, and then we're going to come back to Sesame Street with Ben Shapiro. The name of the book, and Ben, if I'm not mistaken, this is the first time this stuff has been admitted to in such mass quantities, right?
Absolutely.
The name of the book is Primetime Propaganda, the true Hollywood story of how the left took over your TV. This is an important story because you need to understand how propaganda is being used in our country, because everything from health care to the Constitution is up for grabs and is being used with propaganda.